In every individual exist innate patterns of thoughts and behaviors that dwell in the unconscious mind. These patterns appear throughout history in myths, legends, fables, and folklore. They are symbolic and are known to manifest in response to biological instincts. They are known as archetypes. The archetypes are too numerous to outline comprehensively as they contain overlapping qualities and forms, and for that reason I'll be making another video that explains the concept of archetypes with examples of the major recurring theme of life. Hello YouTube people, my name is Jesse, originator of the Lifelong Mastery YouTube channel, and this video marks the start of my Sons of Archetype video series, which explores the life of key historical and mythological male characters through the lens of the four masculine archetypes, mainly the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. The idea developed by Moore and Douglas Gillette are deeply rooted in Jungian psychology, specifically developed from Carl Jung's work on archetypes and the human psyche. And today we start off with one of my favorite Bible characters, Solomon. For a bit of context, Solomon was the son of King David and queen consort Bathsheba. After David's 40-year reign, strewn with numerous wars and battles, most of which he won, he passes the mantle of leadership on to Solomon. Therefore, we can agree on the premise that Solomon inherited a fairly peaceful kingdom from his father. Later in the story, God appeared to Solomon in a dream, seeking to bless him with a request of his choosing, to which the king asked for wisdom to better rule his people. God then proclaimed even further blessings upon Solomon, having been impressed by the young king's wise choice. Solomon would go on to become the wisest and wealthiest ruler in all of Israel's history. But it all came crashing down when he got entangled with the women and gods of foreign lands. But let's back up for a second and start to examine this extraordinary monarch through the first lens. The king. The king energy is primal in all men, quoting Robert and Douglas. It comes first in importance and it underlies and includes the rest of the archetypes in perfect balance. A good king is a good warrior, a positive magician, and a great lover. A good king is wise with the wisdom of Solomon, and the king archetype within every man comes close to being God in his masculine form. Upon ascension to the throne, the young Solomon would embody this archetype to a highly commendable degree. First, by commanding administrative purge and political reassignment, by leading military and bureaucratic expansion, and most notably building trade relationships with kings and princes of other wealthy nations. Solomon's deep commitment to bringing blessing, abundance, and peace to his kingdom and its subjects showed the mark of a true leader. He forwent his personal goals to ensure that he protected the legacy his father had left him. But even a good king can easily become a power or a wealth-mongering tyrant when fear, pride, and isolation enter the equation. The tyrant king manifests in us at some point or another when we feel pushed to the limit, when we feel exhausted, or when we are getting inflated. Against God's commandments, Solomon imposed heavy taxation and forced labor upon his subjects. He violated the laws of kingship by accumulating so much wealth, so much military prowess, and infamously getting entangled with about 1,000 women, most of who were foreign, and their gods as well. Solomon's tyranny would lead to civil unrest and ultimately a split of the kingdom after his death. Tyranny is a mask great men wear to hide their humanity and weakness. Solomon did not selfishly hold wealth because he loved money, but because he was afraid of losing his power, and so he sought to secure it through personal affluence. Imposing forced labor wasn't really to display strength, but he probably thought that sustaining an empire at its peak demanded a heightened level of control over human resources. Solomon did not marry so many women out of lust. Well, he might have been a lustful addict, but from another perspective, it could be that he was already entangled in building alliances. In those days, marriages was a very effective way to secure the loyalty of nations. Tyranny is just weakness in disguise, taken to extreme levels. I hope that tells you something about yourself. Number 2, the warrior. Unlike the warrior King David, Solomon's warrior archetype wasn't expressed through wars and open battles. Like I said earlier, he inherited a fairly peaceful kingdom, therefore his main duty was to sustain that peace. However, this requires elements that are consistent with the warrior spirit in every man: purpose, discipline, intent, and direction. The warrior keeps a focused and clear mind. He establishes his boundaries and principles and forms alliances with people who see his vision and can contribute to his success. The warrior is aggressive. He must protect that which he loves. The warrior is detached. He has accepted the challenges of life and must keep a solution-oriented disposition even in times of crisis. In this sense, Solomon's warrior was disciplined although distant. His warrior spirit shone through structural, institutional, and administrative excellence, as seen in the projects he commissioned, the alliances he formed, and the judgments he gave. But at its worst, his warrior became detached from empathy, exploiting others in the name of stability. The imposition of heavy burdens on his people suggests that Solomon's warrior, although restrained from violence, was not free from imposing force. He simply changed form, and that's what most young men struggle with in our present day. The internal pressure to succeed, to build wealth, and to accomplish our dreams can manifest the shallow warrior within us, the cruel sadist. We see people as mere instruments in our becoming, looking for opportunities to exploit, attack, or betray them to further our goals. Every man must constantly reflect on his action towards others and seek to repair whatever damage might have been caused by this aggression. But he must never lose his warrior spirit. Number 3, the magician. The magician is a master of healing, ceremony, and initiation. They pervade a lot of ancient traditions and folktales, from Egypt to Mesopotamia to Camelot and the legends of Merlin. As described by Robert and Douglas, the human magician is an initiate of secret and hidden knowledge of all kinds. He is the knower and the master of technology. In King Solomon, this archetype manifests in its highest form to the point where he is mythologized across several religions. In some traditions, he is seen as a custodian of esoteric knowledge, a mage in every sense of the word. Some esoteric texts even suggest that Solomon had authority over spirits through a divine ring. He is depicted as the master of ritual magic, spirit invocation, angelic communication, and sacred geometry. In him, the magician archetype is fully realized. And even within the biblical narrative, his magician spirit appears, although limited to his knowledge, wisdom, and discernment, as in the famous judgment between two women, his famous proverbs and songs, and his expansive knowledge of physical realities, for which he was astronomically famed. Yet, the magician carries a shadow. When a man fails to integrate his magician spirit, he either becomes a manipulator or a denier. He either wishes to take control or he abdicates his wise prowess altogether. He becomes so wise that he uses words to bend reality in his favor by manipulating others to do his bidding. In the same vein, he denies responsibility, often finding excuses to be seen as innocent while nursing hidden desires. In Solomon's later life, his turning towards foreign altars meant denial of the truth his forefathers had stood for. But even deeper than that, it revealed a lack of grounded reality, one of the many woes of the modern man. We live in a society where men's identity has been fractured. There is so much information at our fingertips, and some influencers push contradictory information on what it means to be male and masculine. Amidst all these ideologies and propaganda, I believe that the world still needs men who can steady themselves and stand for something, who will not deny the power of their voices to speak up for what they believe to be true, even if the consequences are dire. Number 4, the lover. It is a bit absurd that when we think of the term lover, we instantly associate it with sexual love. But that's only one out of the many facets of the lover archetype. The lover expresses the function of the psyche that is trained in all the details of sensory experience, the function that notices colors and forms, sound, tactile sensations, and smell. It lives through the great primal hungers of our species for food, well-being, reproduction, creative adaptation to life's hardship, and ultimately a sense of meaning. The lover is attractive, he is healthy, playful, and creative. He lives with an open heart and seeks to experience oneness with all of life. He loves beauty, he loves art, he loves poetry, he loves music. The lover expresses all of himself without inhibitions or shame. We see Solomon embody this archetype in his sensual collection of poems, The Song of Songs, a book so vivid with erotic imagery that it almost defies the biblical sense of decency. But that's what makes Solomon special. He gave all of himself to his poems unashamedly. Besides poetry, Solomon was devoted to aesthetics. He did not acquire all that wealth to have the temple looking drab. Instead, he lavished it with gilded carvings, meticulous design, and astounding artistry. His love for knowledge and beauty filled his courts with the best music, the best intellectual exchange, and cultural refinement. People came from all over the world to have a taste of his paradise. Solomon's lover archetype was well integrated, that is, until the shadow emerged. Addiction and overindulgence are the lover's demons. The lover, when faced with the vanity of existence, may despair, and if he seeks to escape the emotions that arise from this bitter realization, he may succumb to an endless loop of experience, endless work, money, food, sex, drugs, and all whatnot are his comfort. Otherwise, he is depressed and shuts off his creative potential from the world in order to protect himself. It is often believed that Solomon wrote Song of Songs in his youth, Proverbs in his middle age, and Ecclesiastes in his old age, a trajectory many people still follow to this very day. But it's not that fervent youths don't despair, but they are more prone to a life of addiction and escapism, some of which may stay with them until middle age when they start to realize that no experience on its own can sustain them, but that the meaning of life is what you make it day by day, action by action, step by step. Viewing the life of Solomon through the lens of the archetype revealed to me how much potential and how much power sits inside of me, and how one good quality, if overextended or less integrated, can become something dark, sinister, or degenerate. So I urge men watching this video to learn as much as they can about their predominant archetypes, as such knowledge can be a great catalyst to your transformation. It doesn't have to be instantaneous, as there's so much work to be done, but it's a great place to start. Please tell, what are your predominant archetypes? Drop them in the comments below, and as usual, I will see you in the next video.